Okay, this is Russ Squire again, and we are on to the last segment, part 6, of using 1031 exchanges to grow your real estate wealth. So let's move on with it. Okay, property identification rules. Basically, there are 3 sets of rules. The 3 property rule states that within the confines of 45-day identification period, you must identify or may identify any 3 properties regardless of their value. Now you must acquire at least one of these 3 properties as your replacement property. It's used by 90% of all exchanges. Highly recommend that your most probable property you have under contract before you submit the identification. So you want to make sure you have an accepted buy-sell. That's going to make sure that you've got that property locked, at least with contingencies. You can certainly put contingencies in there that will enable you an out if that out is needed, but it's best to have a contract on one of the properties prior to the end of the 45-day period. The 200% value rule, you can identify more than 3 properties within the 45-day identification period, but their combined fair market value may not exceed 200% of the selling price of the relinquished property or property that you initially sold. And then finally, there's the 95% rule. You can identify any number of replacement properties if the fair market value of the properties actually received by the end of the exchange period is at least 95% of the fair market value of all potential replacement properties identified. So it's kind of a complex rule. You don't see many people use it. Quite honestly, I've only seen people go outside the 3 property rule maybe a couple times in hundreds of exchanges we've performed. Okay, so what constitutes boot in an exchange? Well, definition is boot is any taxable income created in a 1031 exchange, and boot can be created several ways. 1, not reinvesting all the sales proceeds of your relinquished property. That means at the end of the exchange we have to distribute the excess cash back to you, and that's considered taxable. 2, taking cash out during the exchange period. We've discussed ways to take cash out either by refinancing before or after the exchange without having to pay any tax on the cash out. And then 3, personal property listed on the buy-sell agreement. We've also discussed that. That's a big no-no. You don't want to do that because personal property or fixtures enforce the fact that you have to assign a value. And then 4, if you reduce the amount of total mortgage note from the relinquished to the replacement property. So if you sell the first property and you've got $100,000 worth of debt on it, to not have to pay any tax on the exchange, you're going to have to go with at least $100,000 of debt on the replacement property. Total exchange period, 180 days. No ifs, ands, or buts to complete your exchange within the IRS safe harbor. We talked about this in the last presentation. Otherwise, you're in an unsafe harbor and the IRS might start shooting at you, as in an audit. So something you want to avoid, try to keep your exchange to within that 180-day time frame. The first 45 days of the total exchange period are the identification period, and the period in which you must identify your replacement property. And as we said before, these 2 periods run concurrently and there are no concessions. So, and you got to watch weekends and holidays. If your exchange ends on a weekend or a holiday for identification purposes, the 45th day, then you want to make sure you get us your identification form on that day. How to select a qualified intermediary, and that's what we do. Well, 1, experience in complex tax planning and estate planning, and our company's had a lot of that. We've done a lot of both tax planning and estate planning when we worked in the investment business. Have the technology to electronically deliver documents quickly, and also to access the exchange proceeds quickly through the qualified escrow account. That's important. Have a website that you can use as an educational and resource tool, and we've got a website that's absolutely loaded with educational resources like this presentation, along with all kinds of tax forms and documents for practically every state and federal agency that you or your tax people could ever require. Want somebody that gives exchange advice plus prepares the documents. I think that's critical because exchange advice can sometimes lead to tens of thousands of dollars saved in the exchange because you don't make a mistake. Has the procedures that stipulate in writing that the exchanger must approve all disbursements, and we've discussed that. It's another critical aspect. And only performs exchanges. It doesn't also attempt to practice law or tax preparation, but somebody that's a true specialist and just does 1031s. And that's what we do. We don't, have a tax practice or a legal practice on the side like many exchangers do. Okay, so why should you give us your 1031 exchange business? Well, we use the safest procedures, making sure clients sign for all disbursements and that funds are wired directly from closing to escrow. We've discussed the importance of that. We deliver all documents electronically and offer the best training, education, and resource tools for clients. We can even deliver duplicates to your attorneys, CPAs, realtors. So we're a full service exchange firm. We don't just leave you out hanging out to dry and never answer the phone. We're there and we can be reached quite easily. We're experienced. We've performed hundreds of exchanges. I think that's a critical aspect. We maintain offices convenient to many major title companies, CPAs, attorneys, and next door to our bank, which helps expedite transfers. And we have 24 years of estate planning experience and have helped clients perform hundreds of 1035, 1031 exchanges, conservation easements. And combining these strategies can allow many clients to purchase better property with no money out of pocket. So what other services does our firm perform? Well, we can independently assist clients looking for triple net lease property through our local and national network of commercial realtors. We also have our website where we allow clients to list properties, along with, realtors also list properties on our site. So there are exchange replacement properties available right off our website. We perform due diligence services. We perform due diligence for, lots of big development projects. We introduce clients to attorneys that can form a tenant in common agreement, or our decades of estate planning experience has also helped us develop relationships with some great attorneys in the estate field. We can introduce clients to banks with favorable lending terms for tenant in common groups. We can help clients negotiate favorable terms on big deals because of our banking experience. We can introduce clients to trustees and institutional property managers that can handle triple net lease commercial properties, and we are connected to some of the finest property managers and trustees. So, if you'd like to call us for a free consultation, there's all our contact information. My name is Russ Squire, and you can visit our website at 1031property.exchange. You can email me any questions at russ@1031property.exchange, and you're more than welcome to call me directly on the phone that's listed here. So thanks for hanging with us. I hope you learned a lot, and certainly if you have questions, you need any help with an exchange, feel free to give us a call. Thanks.